Mabuhay Pilipinas! This is PlayItRight TV and I'm Kinito Henson, and with me, Diane Castillejo.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Play It Right. We are so excited to talk to this gentleman. He has a very long relationship with the Philippines, been to the Philippines many times. He's a basketball guy, super accomplished, and he's going to give us the lowdown on our Kai Sotto in a bit.
Okay, let's introduce him formally all the way from Arizona. Here he is. He's the Senior Director for Basketball of the Los Angeles-based sports management, talent management, sports marketing company, Wasserman. And yes, Diane said it, he is in charge of managing Kai Sotto's career. And here he is, for the first time in Philippine media, Tony Ronzone.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Kinito. I appreciate it. Great to be on, and with my love of the Philippines and the whole country. Look, when I get off the plane in Manila, I get very excited. You know, the old days, I say I'm Mercate, and then I go to all the different areas. But I'm very familiar with the country. The people are probably the friendliest in the world, and just and the love of the game of basketball, and it's just a beautiful place to be.
Well, Tony, before we ask you about Kai Sotto, let's delve more into your own association with basketball. I know that you were a former national coach. You coached Saudi Arabia, you coached New Zealand, you coached in Australia. You played basketball yourself, Long Beach State, University of Nevada. You played in Italy. So many basketball memories. But of all your basketball memories, I know that you have a special affiliation with the Philippines. In 1989, you came over to play with Sean Chambers on a team called the Los Angeles Jaguars in the PBA Invitationals. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and your recollections of the Philippines during that time?
Yeah, so they were starting a new professional league in America. It was similar to like the Philippine League. It was a 6'5" and under league. And Sean and I knew each other. He played at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. I played in Nevada. We were West Coast people. He's from Sacramento. I'm from Oakland. So we knew each other for a while. We ended up being on the same team. We got on this flight. We sat each other on the flight. We checked into the hotel in Manila. We were roommates there, and we both played on the team of the Jaguars. And Sean was a special player, and that's kind of how he got seen in Manila and started his whole career, was on that trip with the Jaguars. We had a great tournament. I remember playing against Jaworski. I remember him setting a screen on me and basically knocking my body on the floor. And I remember getting up, and one of your Filipino teammates came up to me and he says, just stay down. I wouldn't probably try to go at Jaworski. He's probably the toughest player in the Philippines. So, and I was smartly, Quinito and Diane, I actually listened and I stayed on the ground, and I figured out later I did know who Ron Jaworski was. He was one of the toughest players. And so it was neat playing against him and some of those other players over there. And we had a blast. And Sean played excellent and ended up getting signed to a contract and having a great career in the Philippines.
Fantastic. So you had about, you've been to the Philippines more than 10 times, Tony?
Yeah, many times. Yep, I've been there, because I've been to probably over 97 countries, traveling in the world. I spent 23 years in the NBA with Dallas Mavericks, Detroit Pistons for 10 years. I won a championship in 2004 with Joe Dumars and the Pistons. We had Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, and that great team. We were winning 60 games a year. So I got an opportunity to do that and travel the world. And when I was doing that, I was finding players, recruiting, and drafting. So I've been running NBA drafts for the last 23 years. I've also spent 8 years with the USA Olympic team with Coach Krzyzewski. I was there in 2008 in Beijing. We won the gold medal with LeBron, Kobe Bryant, who was the star of our team at the time and star of the league, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. That was a great opportunity. And then 2010, I went to the World Championships in Turkey with Stephen Curry, who was actually our last player in our team. He was like 11th, 12th man, if you can believe that. Now he's one of the best players in the history of the game. We had Kevin Durant, Lamar Odom. So again, and then in 2012, I went with the USA team again to London in the Olympics and got 3 gold medals. And finally, my wife looked at me and said, "How many gold medals do you need more?" And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Well, you've been gone for like 7 years, traveling every summer for 7 years." So I kind of did a little retirement from the USA.
Wow, definitely a life surrounded by basketball all over. Unbelievable. So, uh, to start it off, how did your relationship with Kai Sotto start? Well, when did you meet him? And obviously, we'll talk about his latest move first from Adelaide to the B League in Japan. So, tell us about the Kai Sotto journey.
Yeah, well, a lot of it was relationship based. With when I was with Dallas, we did bring over Parks Jr. to play with our summer league team, so I was able to meet the East West people, Patty and Marie, and then they kind of had a relationship with Wassman, and then I kind of just came in, and the relationship just developed. And I've been following Kai in his career since he was a young guy,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he's a really good, talented player. He as any player trying to make it to the league and be professional in any type of league. Could be in the Philippines, could be Japan, Korea, could be in Belgium. You got to learn to be a pro, and we're just helping Kai get to that point right now.
Well, Tony, can you give us an assessment of how Kai Sotto has progressed as a player? He played 2 years in the Australian National Basketball League. He's now doing really well in the Japanese B League. Do you think he's on track to realizing his NBA dream?
Yeah, he's on track because the Australian NBL league is very well attended. It's a very well coached league. It's a tough league. I mean, Kai was going against 28, 30-year-old bodies. Those are grown men he's going against. And as we speak about him today, he's still a young man at 20. Most guys don't even enter the draft until they're 22, their draft year. So as we speak about him, he's still got growth and he's got time to continue to get better. So his progress is again, we want more, and he's doing a great job on what he's doing in his direction, and he's focused. But playing in Australia is for us was very beneficial for him to learn to be a pro because you're outside of your own country. It's a different way of living. The food's different, the style's different. It teaches him to become a man, and so I only think it's going to
Well,
help him in
putting
his
together the
progression in his
roadmap for
future.
Kai Soto, after the Japanese B League, I understand that your plans are to make him play in the NBA Summer League and then perhaps getting to some camps with NBA teams and probably get a contract. Is that the plan?
Yeah, the plan is for him just to really focus on playing well in Japan right now. The biggest thing for big guys is conditioning. It takes big guys as they get older to become in better conditioning. Young guys that are tall like him at 7 feet, the conditioning is the biggest issue. And learning to stay on the floor for 8 minute stretches is really hard for big guys. Jermaine O'Neal was a great example when he started with Portland Trailblazers, and it took him time to move up the ranks. He was, conditioning was a big thing. So for right now, Kai, we're just taking baby steps. But yeah, what we're looking for is him to finish Japan strong. Focus on that right now. That's all I want to focus on. Come to the States, get proper workouts, and then him go to mini camps, and then him to show himself in front of NBA teams. And again, there's no guarantee anything, but he's doing the right thing right now with the right people behind him. And again, we have our group in the Philippines with Patty Marie and East West. I have to bring them up because they're the ones that brought us in. And, we have a good partnership and relationship moving forward and helping Kai in his career. And one thing I say about Kai, he's a wonderful human being. I mean, he is very pleasant. I was around him when they played the Phoenix Suns in an exhibition game here in Phoenix. We had a little Filipino gathering before the game. He met and talked to everybody. He signed everything that everybody came up to him. He's a very humble, nice person. You should be very proud of your local Filipino product who is really outside of your country, shows respect to people, which only helps your country, the friendliness of your people of your country. So, credit to Kai and his family of raising such a young man. It's a beautiful man to be around. I love the kid.
Well, it's nice to hear such wonderful words coming from you about one of our players, Kai Sotto. So you mentioned about development that he's still young. So I saw that he played 3 games in 1 week in Japan for Hiroshima, and he did well. So that's a good thing, as you said, to develop his conditioning. And do you think that the B League will be good enough to prepare him for the summer league, where
Mhm.
you plan to put him in? When would that be? And in terms of like the timetable, and what other aspects of his game does he need to develop to get to that level that he needs to?
Diane, yeah, great question. So, yeah, so if you look at the B League for a big man, majority of those players are U.S. American guys that have had a taste of the NBA. They've been high-level European guys. They're very talented players who are over there. They're big, strong bodies. Most of those guys are 28, 30 years old. So
Mm-hmm.
Kai, for him to put his body on a 30-year-old guy that's bigger and stronger, for him to learn to play against that strength is only going to make him a better player. So I feel good with the progression he's made just in a short time he's been over there. It shows the adjustment he's made from Australia to come to Japan and to adjust. And I think the most important thing is the minutes. We are excited about the minutes he's getting, because if you don't get minutes, you're not going to get better. You know,
Yeah.
same as you guys. If you don't get more time on the air, you're not going to get better. So the more air time you get, the better we all get. Not me, you guys.
Well, Tony, now talking about Kai Sotto's future, the World Cup is coming up, and Philippines will be one of 3 hosts for the World Cup. What are the chances of Kai Sotto playing for the Philippine team in the World Cup, and how is he going to be committed to the national program?
Well, we'll just wait on that time on that, but he's always committed. I mean, if you look at the past history, he's always been committed to the national team. So that's not an issue. I don't want to get into that right now. Let's just take it one step at a time, but he's always been committed to the national team. I mean, he left Australia, which he flew all the way to the Philippines. They flew all the way to Lebanon. I think he flew like 48 hours for a 7-foot man. That's pretty tough what he did. It was impressive for him to make all that travel time. So, you know, look, Kai is a committed person to the game of basketball, and he only wants to do is get better and improve. And we have the right team to put him in that position. And it's up to him now to continue to want it, because we can't tell the team to take him. He's got to prove it on the floor. But I think, as you can see, 20 years old, he's done a good job with the Filipino national team. He's done a great job in going to Adelaide and doing what he needed to do there, and he's continued in the Japan B League. We haven't seen him go down. I've only seen him now is starting to go up, and that's the most important thing for the future of his career and for the Filipino basketball, you know, for them in the future, for their national team.
Well, obviously, the World Cup will be a showcase of talent from all over the world. The USA will be represented, and they'll be playing in the Philippines. And I also know, Tony, that you've been in touch and are in communication with our head coach, Chot Reyes. What have your discussions been with Chot?
More just basketball, X and O. You know, just talking to him. I've known Chot for 15 years, so he's a great guy. I know many people over for MVP. I know Hansi. I mean, so I've known a lot of people in the country, and I know most of the basketball people. I know Tim Coyne, Norman Black. So I'm very familiar with the basketball people. But Chot's, you know, great coach. He understands the game. He's committed. He's loyal. I mean, he's all about the national Filipino pride. And, you know, he's putting together a good roster. And your basketball players are getting better over there. That's the bottom line. I mean, look at teams that are trying to poach some of your players from Japan and Korea. Look,
Yeah.
I wouldn't look at that as a negative. I look at it as a positive, because that means it's showing your talent levels getting better. The Kais
Yeah.
of the world, the Ramos of the world, all these guys are getting better. That's because your coaches are getting better. The competition's getting better. So if they're taking your guys, I wouldn't say it as a negative. It's a positive. And what does it do? It also gives your younger kids an opportunity to take their spots to continue to prove that maybe wouldn't have an opportunity. So you may develop some future stars. So for me, everything in the game of life and the game of basketball is positive. Let's how can we make it better? How can we be better as a team, as a country, whatever it shall be.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I was going to ask you about what you thought of all these Filipino talent being recruited to international leagues. You answered that, and Kai Sotto is one of them. Are there any other Filipinos, Tony, or other players that you have noticed especially, or have that may be interested in? But you're
Yeah,
impressed.
there is. There's a couple of young guys. I don't really want to say their name because it will put them on the radar too quick, and I kind of want to hide them out. But you have some talent, Diane, that's coming on. That is only going to get better. And being on the world stage this summer, you know, you're talking about every country in the world is watching these events. So Philippines is going to be watched. Japan, everybody's going to be watched. So a lot of these players have an opportunity to showcase, to play against great competition, and if they do well, there you become on everyone's radar. Top EuroLeague teams, Euro Cup teams, and NBA teams.
Okay, Habi, you're a scout all over the world. Can you tell us what are some of the unique qualities of the Filipino basketball player that are homegrown here that makes them a big potential in the world stage?
Yeah, that's easy to answer. It's the Filipino passion of the game. That means they love it. They get up in the morning. They want to be tough. They spend time at being a great player. You know, the work ethic of the Filipino race, I think, is special. They play hard. As you see, there's quarrels in games or little fights. You know, it's more of the passion. Those fights happen, and the way they play so hard. I mean, they get after you, and I like that part. One of the things in the NBA, what does an NBA coach always say? I want guys that play hard. I want guys that compete. I want guys that love the game. Well, Philippines just hit 1, 2, 3 out of 3. Now we
Great.
just got to get the skill set a little better, and you'll start seeing eventually some more Filipinos get into the NBA.
Again,
So,
just talking about
go
Kai
ahead.
Sotto. Yeah. You were saying that we know that Kai is committed to basketball, but we also know his commitment to the country, as he's shown going to Lebanon and flying all those hours. But the World Cup is something special. Is there a way that we can find out as early as now that Kai Sotto will make himself available for the World Cup? And I think the Filipino fans are eager to find out whether he will be available. He missed the last FIBA window, but the World Cup is something special. And plus, the Philippines is the lead host. Can you give us an idea or a clue as to whether he can be committed? Because there will be a long training period leading
Right.
up to the World Cup.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember he did come to the first window, which he had to fly from
Yes.
Adelaide to leave. If you look at most top players, not a lot of the top players did play in the windows of any country. You go to Lithuania, Serbia, Belgium, Czech Republic, any of those top countries, a lot of the top guys didn't play. Kai Sotto did play. In the second window, you know, really, if you think about it, you guys have already qualified. There was no reason. And again, for him to leave,
Yeah.
it's not like he's 2 hours away. It's not like in Lithuania, you're going to fly to Italy for a game. It's a little easier. It's a couple-hour flight. It's a longer haul for him. So he did stay committed. He is committed. He wants to play. We just got to wait and see. We can't give you anything right now. But look, he's been loyal to the country. He's been loyal to the windows. He wants to play. He's continuing to get better. He's doing everything we're asking him to do. And we just got to be patient with him because it's a 20-year-old kid. So, you know, we got to be patient. He's 20. And he's continued to get better. And Diane just said it. The last 3 games he's played very well in Japan, and that's a big positive for everyone. If I'm a coach, if I'm a player, if I'm a fan, I'm looking at his stats saying, "Hey, I see something. This is really good."
So in terms of the months, so how long will he be in Japan, and when do you expect him to be in the United States?
So he'll probably come to once the season ends in Japan and their team makes the playoffs. If they don't, once he's done, he'll be coming over right away. He'll come in and train, workouts, and then we'll start putting him in through NBA mini camp. So there's not a secret. Everyone knows that it's going to happen. And then the goal is for him to play well enough, and then he'll play in the summer league, which is going to be great for the Philippines to follow his progress, playing against top draft picks, lottery picks, NBA players are trying to make rosters, you know, and you're playing in Las Vegas where there's 30 teams there. There's probably 400 general managers and coaches from around the world. You got 30 front office people there, 10 from each team. So he's going to have probably over 1,000 basketball minds, decision makers watching him play. So this is it's kind of like restarting his draft. It's restarting everything right now.
Yeah.
But he's going through. It's a whole new process. It's exciting time for him and his family. It's exciting time, I know, for your country to watch one of your homegrowns pursue his dream and career. And again, it's up to Kai to continue to play like he is in Japan and get better at his game. And the 3-ball, we got to have. You know, he did make 2 threes at the Phoenix Suns game, if you guys remember that. So he has the ability to do that, and we want to see that a little more. But again, we're very happy with him and his progression, and we got a good team that's working with them, and we're staying focused on his career and his future.
Well, Tony, a good friend of ours, Joe Betancourt. I don't know if you remember him.
I do.
Joe Betancourt.
I do. I met him. I remember. I haven't seen him in probably 20 years, or I don't know, even longer. I don't know when. But yeah,
We're
I
in
don't know.
touch.
Where's he at now? Where is he?
He's all over the world, and
Okay.
he's become a multi-billionaire doing IPOs. But
Good for him.
he's involved in negotiating the purchase of one of the NBA teams. But he told me recently that he sees Kai Sotto as the next Kristaps Porzingis. What do you say about that comment?
That's tough to compare right now because I had Kristaps with me in Dallas, and I've seen Kristaps since he was 16. But you know, you always compare people with that size. So he does have that ability. I think Kristaps is kind of a more of an outside perimeter player, where Kai is kind of a mid-range, low post guy right now, and we'd like to eventually get him outside. But I think, look, if he can be as good as Porzingis, shoot, you can put my hat on that rack right now. I'd be very excited. So I love the comparison by Joey, but he's not there yet. No.
Okay, but here's a tough question for you, Tony. If you were to choose which NBA team would be the best fit for Kai at this point, which team would that be?
That's a
You love
good.
the one thing in the Philippines, you always ask these tough questions. You guys aren't easy. Nah, I'll tell you what. That's a great question, Quinito, but here's the deal. I like all 30. Whoever makes the first call and gives us the best opportunity, guess what? It doesn't matter what city, where it is, we'll be happy. And right now, we're happy with him being in Japan and Hiroshima, playing well there, because again, we take one step at a time, and this is the next step in his career path. And so far, again, we're just happy with what he's doing. He's focused. He's learning to be a pro. You know, and at 20 years old, you know, you're away from your home country, and you're living a different life and different food and different style, different language. And, you know, it's just going to make him a better pro and wherever he plays in the future.
Well, Tony, you used to be married to a Filipina, Liwayway Ledesma, and with her, you have twin sons. We've got a picture of your sons right now.
Oh,
There
wow.
it is.
You guys are amazing. That's awesome.
Okay, so
I love
that's Kate and Austin. They're
Age
both
20.
players. They're twins. They're 21 years old. They're 6'3", and they're playing for the Arizona Sun Devils.
Yep.
That's Arizona State Sun Devils. That's where Paul Howard played. That's where Alton Lister played.
Yes, I know Alton
Right.
real well.
Alton Lister is still living in the Philippines.
I used to coach there for 2 years. I coached there with Bill Frieder
Okay.
back there. So I actually so it's kind of cool. I coached there, and my twin boys are there.
Okay, your twin boys are Filipino Americans. They are finishing up at Arizona State, but they will be eligible to play in the collegiate leagues here if they enroll in a master's program. What are your plans for your kids? And do they have Philippine passports? Can they play for the Philippine team at some later date?
And do they work?
They are en route to the Philippines as we speak, and we will be talking to schools there. And I think Diane, you are LaSalle. Am I correct?
Well, my dad played soccer though from kinder to college. So
All right.
Quinito
And Quinito, what are you?
I'm a LaSalle Sports Hall of Famer.
You're a Sports Hall of Famer, LaSalle.
Yeah.
So you are a true LaSalle. When I was with Kai in Phoenix, we had a ESPN crew, or some crew was there interviewing Kai, and the whole crew was from LaSalle. So, but yeah, we
good.
Yeah, it was interesting speaking to them. So, but yeah, my boys are excited to come to. We're probably coming over in May.
Oh wow!
Which is what, 6 weeks.
Awesome.
So
Right.
I'll make sure I'll take you guys to dinner. We'll have to meet up. So
That would be so
Yes,
nice.
for sure.
yeah.
So your boys look very Filipino, and you're saying that they're
Yeah, they don't look like me. They don't look like me.
How do you think they'll do in the college league here? I mean, what excites them about playing for the college league here?
I think the fact is they've been there a lot when they were younger. I think the fact is their family on their grandma's side, their mom's side, they have a lot of family that live in the Philippines right now. They have a lot of Filipino family that live in America now. They know the culture, the history. Look, they're guys that love the game of basketball. I could see them getting into acting when they're there, modeling, whatever it is. They're very open to anything. They're very excited about it, and again, we got good people helping them with East West, so we're in good shape. So
So
Yeah, well, if Tony Ronzone is there, I'm sure they're going to be in good hands, just as Kai Sotto is in good hands with you, Tony, plotting his moves and plotting and making sure that the roadmap is set for his for him to pursue his NBA dream. And with that, Diane, Tony, we want to thank you very much for the time that you've spent with us. It's been awesome talking with you and getting your insights, especially since so many people are asking, what's with Kai Sotto? Where is
yes,
he going? What are his plans? But now you've unraveled everything, and we all know that he's in good hands. And with you running the show, Tony, and with East West Private also there by his side, we know that Kai Sotto is going to be exactly where he wants to be, and that's playing the NBA.
Yeah, and you know, and also as part of our, and I didn't mention, you know, it's about with Wasserman, we are called Team Was, and I have another guy that works with us in Lithuania named Tadas too. That's also part of the team. I need to mention him. It's been very helpful with everything with Kai. So again, Kai's got a great team behind him with us, and we're just looking, you know, again for him to continue to prove and what he's doing right now and learning to be a better pro every day. And again, when I get to the Philippines, one thing I'm looking forward to is I'm on some quality chicken adobo.
All right. And you're going to bust that with San Miguel beer.
And I'll take that too. There ain't no doubt about that.
right. Thank you for the great news
Thanks very
for
much.
all the Filipino basketball fans on Kai and everything else. It was so wonderful to talk to you and looking forward to meeting you and your twin boys here in the Philippines.
That sounds like a plan. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks very much, Tony.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
All
Thank
right,
you for your
bye-bye.
time.
All right, bye.
Well, Diane, for the first time in Philippine media, we heard it straight from Tony Ronzoni, the man
Yeah,
who's in charge of plotting the career of Kai Sotto. And, he wasn't exactly totally committed about anything
yeah.
outside of Kai playing hard in the Japanese B League. But, that's how sports agents are. They want to make sure that all the options are open. But I know deep in his heart, he'll want Kai Sotto to play for the Philippines in the coming World Cup.
Yeah, I mean that's what he said. I mean the whole world's going to be looking at the World Cup. It would be a great stage for Kai to showcase his skills, his improvement from Adelaide to the B League. But you notice he was really focused on telling everybody to be patient. He's 20, he needs to develop. But the good news is that he feels that he's on track and that he can definitely make it. He was very positive about that. He's got good people around him and so much experience. And the fact that he said, the coaches in the NBA are looking for guys who love basketball, passionate about it, work hard, and of course, have the skills. So, uh, nice to hear that. And nice for him to say so many good things about our players and Philippine basketball in general. So, thank you
Well,
again,
again,
Tony.
yeah.
It's been nice.
Yeah, thank you very much to all our viewers, Play It Right TV. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. And, log on to our sister website. That's PlayItRight.com. That's where you can get all these fantastic products, sports apparel, sportswear, sports shoes, and everything related to sports. PlayItRight.com has the best merchandise, best items, and at the best possible prices. There you go.
All
So
right.
thanks very much again.
Until the next time, hope you enjoyed our talk. This is Diane Casilio. See you next time.
Kinito Henson saying, play it right all the time.